Hare Krishna. Now that we are actually at the temple, I wonder if we can show. Yeah, we'll show you the deities. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Oh, white Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bhagavad Gita ki jai. So, up to 727. So, if you can find Bhagavad Gita 727. I'm sitting on an angle so you can see the deities, even though they're kind of a little blurred on here. If they're not blurred, if I turn around and look at them. Om Jnana Timirandasya Vinachana Salakaya Chakshuramitam Jena Prasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Maha, Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam, Stapitam, Yena Bhutale, Swayam Pakadamayam, Vedati Swapadantikam, Vandeyam Shri Guru Shri Tapatamam, Shri Vishnu Rupam Sahajatam Sahagana Rakatam Sajivam. Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Radha Shri Vishnu Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Hey Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Tapta Kanchana Goram Yadva Shivahan Shri Panchakalpatarubhya Chakri Vishnu Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakti Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Chandra. Okay, we're going to go back to Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. So everybody should be at 7:27 now if you have a Bhagavad Gita. I'm going to try reading, so because I still don't have the right glasses yet. But Ichadresha Samutena
Ichadvesha Samudena
Dvandva Mohina Bharata
Vandva Mohena Bharata
Sarva Bhutani Samoham
Sarva Bhutani Sammoham
Sarge Yanti Parantapa
Sarge Yanti Parantapa
Ichadresha Samutena
Ichadvesha Samudena
Dvandva Mohina Bharata
Vandva Mohena Bharata
Sarva Bhutani Samoham
Sarva Bhutani Sammoham
Sarge Yanti Parantapa
Sarge Yanti Parantapa
Ichadresha Samutena
Ichadvesha Samudena
Dvandva Mohina Bharata
Vandva Mohena Bharata
Sarva Bhutani Samoham
Sarva Bhutani Sammoham
Sarge Yanti Parantapa
Sarge Yanti Parantapa
Ichadvesha Samudena
Ichadvesha Samudena
Matena
Dvandva Mohina Bharata
Bharata
Sarva Bhutani Samoham
Samoham
Sarge Yanti Parantapa
Parantapa
Ichadvesha Samudena
Ichadresha Samutena
Vamohena Bharata
Dvandva Mohina
Mohena Bharata
Bhutani Sammoham
Sarva Bhutani
Bhutani Samoham
Sarge Yanti Parantapa
Sarge Yanti Parantapa.
Parantapa
So anyone online want to chant?
Ichadvesha Samuttena
Ichadresha Samutena
Dvandva Mohena Bharata
Dvandva Mohina Bharata
Sarva Bhutani Samoham
Sarva Bhutani Samoham
Sarge Yanti Parantapa.
Sarge Yanti Parantapa. Anyone else? Okay. Icha,
Icha,
desire.
desire,
Dresha,
Dvesha,
and hate.
and hate.
And hate.
Samutena,
Samudena,
Samudena
arising from.
arisen from
Dvandva,
Vandva,
of duality.
of duality.
duality.
Mohena,
Mohena,
Mohena
by the illusion.
by
by
the
the illusion.
Bharata,
Bharata,
Bharata
kind of Bharata.
aside Bharata.
Sarva,
Sarva
Bhutani,
Bhutani
living entities.
living entities.
Samoham,
Samoha
into delusion.
into delusion.
Sarge,
Sarge
while taking birth.
by taking birth.
Yanti,
Yanti
go.
go.
Parantapa,
Parantapa
O conqueror of enemies.
O
the
conqueror of
conqueror of enemies.
So if everyone can mute now. O Skynabarth, O conqueror of the foe. All living entities are born into delusion, bewildered by dualities arising from desire and hate. So now we have Prabhupada's purport to explain this verse. The real constitutional position of the living entity is that of subordination to the Supreme Lord, who is pure knowledge. Okay. So we're the living entity, the constitutional position. So we sometimes say, our constitutional position is we're spirit soul. Yes, we are spirit soul. This doesn't negate that we're spirit soul. It says, but as a spirit soul, we are part and parcels of Krishna, of the Supreme Spirit. So if we're part and parcels of the Supreme Spirit, we're the little part, we're meant to serve the whole. So just like the hand serves the body, the hand is part and parcel of the body, it serves the body, takes the food, puts it in the mouth, and the hand is nourished. If it tries to enjoy separate, it can't enjoy separate. So similarly, we are subordinate to the Supreme Lord. So we should be serving the Supreme Lord. Of course, even if you don't know what to do, if you at least come to that conclusion that you should be serving the Supreme Lord, then that's a very good thing. How do you serve him? Only by Prabhupada's mercy, we have a very practical way of serving him. Besides chanting Hare Krishna, which is the most important thing, and anyone can do that anytime, anywhere. Sometimes you might get in trouble for it, but you can do it. I'm just thinking in a classroom if you're chanting, but you can chant in your mind anywhere, anytime. So we're all pure spirit souls, and we are all subordinate because we're part and parcel of Krishna, and the part serves the whole. So we're subordinate to the Lord, who is pure knowledge. So he's pure knowledge. So someone might think pure knowledge means that he's not a person, like knowledge. What's knowledge? But you actually have to be a person to have knowledge. Do you have a comment, Shiva? Okay, he's pure knowledge. He's a person, and he's completely pure everything. Pure knowledge, pure bliss. He's full of all of these things. But then we're going to get onto the next part about the knowledge. When one is deluded into separation from this pure knowledge, he becomes controlled by illusion, by illusory energy, and cannot understand the Supreme Personality of God. So basically, when this knowledge, is pure knowledge, is covered over by Krishna's illusory energy, which it is for everybody in this material world, we're all covered over to different degrees. Maybe not everybody. Somebody could be completely pure, but most of us to different degrees are covered over. Some people practically completely covered, and some people not so much covered, but we are to different degrees covered. So when we separate from Krishna or Krishna consciousness, we're Krishna conscious, we're with Krishna. We're with Krishna anyway, but we don't know it because we're in illusion. When we understand that that we are with Krishna, then we have that knowledge. Then we are not in illusion. The illusory energy is manifested in the duality of desire and hate. So this is the material world. It's the world of duality. There's heat and cold, happiness and distress, honor and dishonor. And there's desire, means something I really want, and something I really don't want or I don't like. So we hate something else. Desire and hate. That's the material world. So we have to come to see, the variegatedness is there in the material world. There is so much variety. In the spiritual world, there's so much variety, but at the same time, it's all Krishna. Everything is Krishna. There is nothing but Krishna. So in that sense, it's also all one. It's not all me or all you. It's not like I'm God, you're God. And no, we're all part and parcel of God. So the illusory energy is manifested in the duality of desire and hate. So that's how we can we become an illusion. We make distinctions. For the pure devotee, it doesn't matter if he goes to heaven or hell. He doesn't make it one bit of difference. I mean, it's hard to see that. It's hard to think. I don't mind going to hell as long as I'm Krishna conscious. But I mean, the pure devotee, he thinks that way. So he doesn't make the distinctions of this world. This thing is good. This thing is bad. Because he sees everything is coming from Krishna and it's all good. And you can make the best use of a bad bargain. So due to desire and hate, the ignorant person wants to become one with the Supreme Lord and envies Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So due to desire and hate, the ignorant person wants to become one with the Supreme Lord. So why would anybody want to become one with the Supreme Lord? I mean, I'd like to be God. That would be nice. Imagine being God. I don't have to do anything I want. Of course, the people who become God or who are an illusion thinking they're God, they can't do what God does. They can't just do anything. They can't think something and make it happen. They can think they can. They can't. Make some, Krishna can lift a mountain. Then lift the mountain. There are a lot of people claim to be God with no evidence whatsoever. Do some magic tricks. In India, most of the gods they have there, they do magic tricks. And even if when I'm reading about Prabhupada, sometimes talking about magic, but he's talking about like mystic yoga. He considers that like magic. It's like a magic trick. It's not. It's just an illusion. But these. So even if you have some mystic powers, it doesn't make you God. You still can't do what Krishna had done. Let's say I tell you I'm the strongest man in the world. I mean, I don't think you'll believe me. No, if I said it, or if somebody else said it, they're the strongest man in the world. Most of the time, I would think I'm not going to talk to the guy. The guy's crazy. He's the strongest man in the world. But even if he seems sane in every way and he says he's strong, okay, prove it. Do something that no one else can do. Lift, what's the record of how much somebody can lift? Lift more than that. That'll show you're the strongest man. It might show. But doing nothing and saying it means nothing. So I say I'm God. That's way more powerful than the strongest man in the world. So you can do more than that. Lift 10 times as much as the strongest man in the world can lift. And we can Google what it is, because you can find out anything. Well, you're going to find out. See if you can find out. But so people accept people as God, although they don't do anything really special. They may make a little magic. That's it. So due to desire and hate, the ignorant person wants to become one with the Supreme Lord and envies Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Pure devotees who are not deluded or contaminated by desire and hate can understand that Lord Sri Krishna appears by his internal potencies But those who are deluded by duality and nescience think that the Supreme Personality of God is created by material energy. So this is a nice sentence. It says a lot of things here, that Lord Sri Krishna appears in his, before that, sorry, pure devotees. They're not deluded or contaminated by desire and hate. So they don't desire anything, they don't hate anything. How much?
2840.
No.
2840 kg.
Oh, they just lift it up off the
Yeah.
ground.
Yeah.
KG?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Somebody,
6,200 pounds.
somebody lifted that.
Paul Anderson.
I don't know if I believe that.
I'm just reading.
I know. 6,000 what?
270 lb pounds.
6,270 pounds. The strongest man in the world lifted, supposedly. That seems, just lifted a second. Yeah, but even if he lifted it a little bit, he lifted. That's amazing. 2,700 pounds. So if you are God, you can lift at least, not even 10. Let's just do twice that much. 5,000 pounds. That's all.
5,000 kilograms. 6,000 pounds. And
oh, it's 6,000 pounds. Okay, so even just 10,000 pounds. You can do it easy if you're God. You're lifting the whole world. Why can't you lift 10,000 pounds? Can't you lift a jumbo plane? Do something. No, nothing. Can't do that. And then they die. No. Okay, let's go back here. So, pure devotees, they're not deluded or contaminated by desire and hate. They don't desire anything. All they do desire, but their only desire is to please Krishna. So they desire things only to use in Krishna's service. They have no personal desires. So it's like you can't get free from desires. You can just change your desires. You have to desire. You're never going to stop desiring, but stop desiring what's pleasing your senses and start desiring what's going to please Krishna's senses. So, and hate. They don't hate anyone. They don't hate anything. They see everything as coming from Krishna. They may sometimes act like they hate someone or something because they may fight Hanuman, killing so many Rakshasas. So they might look like they hate them, but they don't hate them. It's just the service. So they can understand that Lord Sri Krishna appears by his internal potency. So he's not forced to appear like we are forced to appear in a material body. Krishna comes in his self-same spiritual body. But those who are deluded by duality and nescience think that the Supreme Personality of God is created by material energy. So they're in this illusion, thinking it's not different than me. So actually, that means I can also become God. So this is their misfortune. Such deluded persons sympathetically dwell in dualities of dishonor and honor, misery and happiness, woman and man, good and bad, pleasure and pain, etc., thinking, this is my wife, this is my house, I am the master of this house, I am the husband of this wife. These are the dualities of delusion. So it's just thinking everything is mine, me, I and mine. So those who are too deluded by dualities are completely foolish and therefore cannot understand the Supreme Personality of God. So people are foolish accepting other people as God when they don't have any qualification as God. I was talking to some people the other day. They accept someone as God who never claimed to be God. He's probably a pure devotee. But they, for some reason, I don't know how God, but they accept him as God. It's not good to accept a devotee, pure devotee is God. Srila Prabhupada, when he was here in the beginning, there was a few devotees who said he's God. And Prabhupada said, I don't need any of you. And he rejected them. But of course, they came back and, he straightened them out. If that didn't happen, I mean, that was Krishna's mercy to happen, because otherwise it didn't. Later on, people will say Prabhupada was God. Because what did he do? He didn't lift 10,000 pounds, but he made devotees out of malechas. He made malechas into devotees. He made a very low class people into devotees all around the world. So how can do that? Only God, or someone empowered by God. So it's not like he wasn't empowered by God. He was empowered, but he's not God. There's a difference. It's like if your father's a billionaire and gives you some money to do what you want, it may seem like you got all this money, which you do, but it didn't come from you. It came from somebody else. That's the source. And he could take it away anytime he wanted to. So because the devotee, the pure devotee, gives his whole life for Krishna. Krishna gives everything to that devotee. He fulfills his desires, but his desires are all spiritual. His desires are all for Krishna. For instance, Prabhupada's desires were to spread Krishna consciousness all over the world. He's not desiring for any house, any car, any money, any servants, any followers for himself. He's getting followers, but he's not seeing them as his followers. They're his gurus. They're his Guru Maharaj. He's just a servant of his Guru Maharaj. And so how did it spread all over? Because Krishna wants to fulfill his desires. Krishna even fulfills our desires. Even material desires he fulfills. So what let alone what will he do for the pure devotee? A person who only cares about serving him, only cares about pleasing Krishna. Krishna then only cares about pleasing that person. What can I give him? He's not interested in money. So I'll somehow change the minds of these people. Let them, I can clean their brains a little so that they can understand what my representative is saying, and then they can start following him and helping him. And we don't even know if he sent people before. We don't know anything, because all the devotees, they came and they really surrendered so much to Prabhupada. And it's almost like it's not normal how somebody can, just give up everything, no sleep, just working all day and night for Prabhupada. And so many of them were doing that. And it was all because Prabhupada only wanted to please Krishna. And another very wonderful thing about the desire of the pure devotee is he doesn't become complacent. He doesn't think that now I've made so many devotees, I've got so many temples, now let's just sit back and relax. There was no sitting back and relax. He did at one time say, now we have to boil the milk, which means that we have all these devotees. Now we have to get these devotees fixed up really good in Krishna consciousness. Instead of getting a whole bunch of followers where nobody is following so strictly or understands everything very well. Better you have less and you have them understanding Krishna consciousness really good. So then we had so many classes every single day. Every day, and we had Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Sri Upanishad, Krishna book. I don't know if we had nectar of devotion classes or not. There was no nectar of instruction at that time. And on Sunday, I would read anyway in the temple. This was just for the deities, teachings of Lord Chaitanya. There was no Chaitanya Charitamrita. But so we had a lot of classes every single day. And plus, we spent a half hour listening. No, it was an hour, I think. Half hour listening to a tape by Prabhupada, and then maybe not a whole hour, and then going over the whole tape. What did Prabhupada say? And I remember this one lady, forget her name, she got the program, but she remembered everything. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't remember. First of all, I couldn't even understand what Prabhupada was saying. I said, I can't understand them. And then the devotees told me, when you get purified, you'll understand them. This is not a question of purified. He's got such an accent. I don't understand his accent. And they said, when you get purified, you'll understand. I still didn't understand that. I still don't understand it. I did get to a point, I guess, where I got purified because I did understand them. But it didn't seem like they said purified. When you get purified, you'll understand it. But we'd have the tape, and it was then they would discuss it, go over whatever the different things. So we had a lot of classes. At that time, we were boiling the milk, making it thick, trying to really understand Krishna consciousness, not just distributing books, chanting our rounds and distributing books and not really reading them or studying them. So we studied them a lot. But of course, we kept distributing books and kept making devotees. But he did want us to get fixed up. Okay, wow, not much time. I could either read another verse, but before I do, any questions? Yes.
So, two questions. First question, near the beginning of the class, you mentioned that pure devotee doesn't care whether he's on like hell or heaven. So I was thinking, is there an example of a pure devotee who has gone to a hell? Like even
No, but there's Prabhupada saying that the devotee doesn't care where he is. If he goes to heaven or hell, it doesn't matter. It doesn't. You might make some distinctions, and I'm sure I would. I don't want to go to hell. I'm attracted to going to heaven, but I don't want to go to heaven because I'll get too much in illusion. I'd rather go back to the spiritual world. But for a pure devotee, he's with Krishna no matter where he is. It makes no difference. I don't know. I mean, what's his name? Bali Maharaj. Wasn't he pushed down somewhere to the lower planets? But Krishna was his doorkeeper. Krishna became his doorkeeper. So he goes to hell, but he has Krishna watching his door for him. And so he's with Krishna every day. I'm sure he spent a lot of time at the door. But so this heaven or hell doesn't matter for the devotee. It really makes no difference. I mean, even here, Prabhupada was in the spiritual world because he was in Vrindavan, and he left there to come here. And this is like hell for Prabhupada. This was like hell, but he did it, and he didn't regret it. Didn't feel I can't wait to get out of here. No, he did everything he had to do to serve Krishna. I mean, to us, this is not hell. I mean, it doesn't seem like it because we can enjoy, but go to another country like, I don't know what country is bad now. There's plenty of them, but if you go somewhere like that, like where?
Afghanistan.
Is Afghanistan? I don't know. It's still bad there. Afghanistan. Yeah. Anyway, probably wouldn't be too happy going there. So I don't know, other than Bali Maharaj, who was the king of or the ruler of the whole universe. You know, Bharat Maharaj was the ruler of the whole planet Earth. The whole planet Earth. Bali Maharaj was the whole universe. And he was a demon. But he wasn't a really bad demon. He was a good demon. I don't know how he was a demon. So, but yeah, it's a question of consciousness. When you're really into Krishna consciousness, when you're really Krishna conscious, then it doesn't matter where you are. You're in ecstasy. No matter where you are. You don't even care if you live or die. Doesn't matter. Well, some Krishna conscious. You have a question, Jeeva? Good. Because I don't know if I'd be able to answer your question. Yes.
So the second question is near the end of the class, you made a point which resonated with me, is that desires has to be purified in a way. That's what the essence you said. So, but how to do that? You know, because sometimes when you are stuck, you don't have that intelligence. Like when you are out of that, then you realize, yes, this is not right. But
well, you have to changing your desires is not something that just it happens overnight. It's a gradual thing. More and more. I want to do more for Krishna, and I don't want to just do things for me. So it involves chanting rounds every day, associating with devotees, rendering service, and gradually you'll desire more and more. You want to do things for Krishna. You want things to be good for Krishna. I don't care what they're like for me. And that really happens. You don't care about yourself. You care about Krishna. You want, for instance, you're doing some big engagement and it's so much trouble, but you don't mind if it's so much trouble as long as it's nice for Krishna. What's that?
Understand that everything belongs to Krishna.
Jiva just mentioned, I don't know if anybody can hear Jiva, but she mentioned how we could, a good thing is to understand that everything belongs to Krishna. Right. Everything is his, so we should use everything for him. And what do we have? We have this body, so we use that for him. We have it. I didn't say, well, we're the ones that do what we want. What if we don't do anything? It doesn't do anything. If I just sit down and not this body and just lay down, just I want to try to get out. Squeeze. Yeah, yogis can do it. Yeah. We're not yogis. Okay, does anybody online have a question or comment? Somebody had something in the chat. I can't read it. Well, I could read it if I put on my glasses. Oh, wow. The sound is very poor. That's what it says. Now I read it at the end.
I could hear you fine.
6. I tried 2 times. Sounded fine to me.
That was Alvija. Yeah. Is it still sounds still poor? Maybe she can't hear me. Anyway, it's not bad for everybody. Oh, sorry. She said
Sorry,
it was at the
Prabhu.
beginning. No,
Yeah,
that's fine.
Sorry,
That's fine.
sorry. I apologize. Sorry.
Oh, that's fine. If it was, it was.
Thank you.
But I just read it, unfortunately. If it was bad the whole time, that would have been terrible.
No. It was very good after.
Oh, do you have any questions?
Not yet, Prabhu, but I probably will in the future.
He says maybe in the future, not right now.
Oh, I thought you said she did. She said yes. No. Okay. Gita Mala, you should have something to say.
I'm in hell. I was distracted trying to do some work at the same time.
But you don't care. It doesn't matter.
I just can't. Okay. That was good. That was a good way.
Is anyone else here in hell?
It was perfectly in sync with the subject of today.
What? I heard part of what you said.
I said it was perfectly in
In sync.
alignment
Oh,
with
right,
the
right,
topic
right,
of
right.
the- Yeah, in sync.
Right. For devotees, doesn't matter. That was very nice comment, Gita Mala.
I meant it whether you thought it was a nice comment or not.
What? We don't hear you.
I said, I meant it whether you thought it was a nice comment or not. I said,
No, it was good. It was really it was what we were talking about. But you got it now. You got to come to the point of Krishna consciousness where it doesn't make one bit of difference.
Exactly.
You got an opportunity here, Gita Mala.
yeah, I know. It's an opportunity to stay in equilibrium, right? What is that word?
Yeah.
Dhira.
Yes.
Be like Prabhu.
Undisturbed. You can
I
do
wish
it.
I trying.
Okay. Anybody in heaven?
For a devotee, even that is hell, right?
Yeah, it's a phantasmagoria. Yeah. But it's not hell. It's hell anywhere in the material world is hell.
Hell, I know.
Yeah,
That's what I
yeah.
said. For a devotee, even heaven is
Right.
hell.
But he's not affected by the hell.
Right. For a devotee, a pure devotee.
Right. No, we're definitely affected. I mean, and you could think, I mean, if you're honest with yourself, if I was in the heavenly planet, what would my consciousness be like? You know, would I be just sitting chanting my rounds while everybody else is enjoying like anything?
Even here on earth, we're thinking like, oh, I wish I was a billionaire and didn't have to worry about this job.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about a job. And they do have some worries, though, I was told. You know, there's also fights and wars, you know, with the demons.
If you're smart, you'll recognize even if you're a billionaire, you'll have other problems. You may not have to worry about a job, but there'll be a million other problems.
Oh, yeah, yes, in the material world, anywhere in the material world. But I'm just saying that if I go to hell, oh, it's like I'm not going to like it. You know, it's so much suffering. I can see that. But I would probably be, if I knew what I know now, I think I'd be praying to Krishna. Krishna, I don't want to ask you anything material, but I'd really like to get out of here.
Well, that's why they say it's better to be on the Earth planet, which is kind of a little bit of a mixture.
Right.
You know?
It's a middle planet and it's suffering and enjoyment. No, not a lot of enjoyment.
So
And in
you
most cases, there's more suffering than there is enjoyment.
but you have just enough impetus to
Right.
try to, you know.
So it's not so much pain where you can't even think of anything else.
Correct. Yeah.
And it's certainly not so enjoyable where you can't think of anything else.
Oh, let me stay here. I just love it.
Yeah. Yeah, I knew somebody like that once. You know him too. You thought everything was so wonderful. He's had a really nice wife and a nice daughter. Everything was so great. He was just like, he said something like he wouldn't mind staying here like this here, for forever. He didn't care about going to the spiritual world. It was that nice. He said something like that. And then
I knew him
wife,
too, you said?
yeah, you do. And then his wife left him, and then he was in hell. Yeah. Yeah, I could tell you later. I don't want
Okay.
to talk about it. But
I was wondering if it was Rinda and Sean. I remember Rinda and Sean.
well, I'm not going to tell you, but
Okay, yeah, you
know,
don't have to tell me, but I remember Sean saying exactly that. Sean and Rinda saying, "Oh, it's so wonderful for us now. We are so afraid that the rug might be pulled from under our feet." And guess what? The rug
actually, they
did
got
get
divorced. I
pulled
didn't know
from
that.
under-
He didn't seem like that to me. He
No, he
seemed like
did.
he was suffering more.
I don't know if he said it or
What?
Rinda said it. I don't know if Sean
Oh,
said
she
it or Rinda
mentioned.
said it.
Can you talk louder because they can't hear you at all?
Oh, I don't know if Sean said it or Rinda said it.
Sean and Rinda.
Yeah, he
But
got
I
initiated later.
don't. Sean didn't. I don't think he would have.
Yeah,
said
maybe
that.
Sean didn't say it. I think Rinda said that.
Maybe
But then,
I didn't know. I never heard of it.
yeah, then the rug got pulled from under them anyway, just like Rinda thought it would.
But Sean, I remember he said one thing I like. He says, like, because sleeping is in the mode of ignorance. And he said, how can sleeping be in the mode of ignorance when it feels so good? It has to be the mode of goodness.
I know, I have to agree with him.
He was really funny.
Especially when that alarm rings in the morning.
Yeah, I can hardly hear you, and I'm right next to the computer.
Well, I
But
don't know
anyway,
why you can't hear me. I might like,
I don't know. Maybe there's volume on this and it's low. I don't know.
yeah,
Not my
I'm
computer.
speaking loud enough.
So,
Oh, the
Prabhu,
volume's up 100% here.
Oh,
maybe I
wow.
would like to ask if, like, how do you know the devotees advancing? Like, for myself, I feeling like I'm staying at the same place.
Yes.
What's
Everyone feels that way. It's almost like what I compare it to is like growing up. When you're a kid, you don't think you're growing. You don't. But if you don't see the kid for a couple of years, you see how much they've grown. So it's kind of imperceptible. But I remember feeling exactly the same way. I still do. But after a few years, I remembered what it was like when I was chanting japa when I first started, and what it was like now. I remember when I first started chanting japa, my mind never stopped. It was like going always, like at 1,000,000 miles an hour on everything. And then after a few years, I was chanting and I was seeing how my mind, I mean, it's not like it doesn't go all over the place, but it's so much, slowed down so much compared to the way it was. And I seen a big difference in my japa. So normally you don't really perceive it so much. It's not the easiest thing, but you also find that there's things that you were very, very attracted to become less attractive. Following the regulated principles, no intoxication becomes easy, whereas previously it was hard. No meat eating becomes, it becomes disgusting to even think about eating meat. So the things that you have to give up become easier to do without. So, but it's hard to actually see how much progress you're making. But I remember also seeing, because I would go with the devotees, I would go to the temple in the morning. This is in Brooklyn, New York, the old Brooklyn temple. And I would stay there all day. I would work at the press. They used to print books there. And then in the evening, about 3 vans, and I was in one of those vans every evening, would go to 42nd Street, Times Square, and we do Harinam for an hour. And then I would leave and take the subway back, and then they would go back to the temple. And I just remembered when I left the devotees and I'm going on the subway, I felt so spiritual. I felt so high. I felt amazing. But when you're in the association of devotees, you just go to the next thing and you don't really experience it. And I felt myself gradually, by moment by moment or minute by minute, gradually going back, falling down to my old consciousness again. But they never do that. I was thinking the devotees. So I was thinking like I was so high and I'm coming down, and they're so high and they just keep going higher and higher and they don't even know how high they are. Anyway, that may be a little difficult because I was a new devotee, brand new devotee. But that's what I had that experience with the devotees. You don't really know how high you are. You don't really know how advanced you are. But if you separate yourself from Krishna consciousness, then you'll see. I have one devotee. He said when he lived in the temple, he never thought of Krishna. But when he left, he couldn't forget Krishna. Everything reminded him of Krishna. So he came back. So it's really difficult to perceive, but guaranteed, you have to have faith that by practicing this process, you are making advancement. You have to have faith. And eventually, Krishna will show you how much. Try to remember what you are like now, what your mind is like, what your desires are. And then 10 years or 5 years, you'll see the difference. Even you look in the mirror, you don't see any difference. But then you look at yourself, if you don't look in the mirror often, when you do, it's like, what happened to me? You don't see it. You can see the pictures of what you look like, but you look so different. So it's not perceptible.
Right. And another question would be like if you see your husband, like he's not gonna give in. So is it not having a faith in Krishna, or
if you see your husband, what?
Not gonna give in, like he's probably not gonna turn into the Krishna consciousness.
He's not going to become a devotee.
Yeah.
If you see that, what about it?
So is it considered I'm not having a faith? Or
well, there's 2 things. One is you can see, I don't know if he will ever become a devotee. It doesn't look like it, but anything can happen. I think that's the way you have to think. But he may not, Doesn't mean because you're a devotee that he's going to become a devotee.
Right. Which is makes like difficult in this devotional process,
being life difficult in devotional.
Oh yeah, well yes, it definitely does. But it's not like you can't be a devotee because of it. You have to learn how to deal with it. You're put into that situation because of your past karma. And you have to make the best use of a bad bargain, as Srila Prabhupada says. So you got to do the best you can.
Right.
You may not be able to do everything. You may not be able to go on all excursions with devotees, but you just do the best you can. You're doing really good.
Thank you, Prabhu. I don't think so, but thank you for encouragement.
You're really doing really well. You really are.
Ex
I mean,
Gita, she's hanging there even in hell.
what?
I said, Mataji Gita Mala, she's even hanging there in hell as a devotee, you know? So that's what we're supposed to do. In everything,
Right.
look at it in Krishna consciousness.
Right. Yeah. Gita Mala can talk to you if you.
How to survive in hell as a devotee.
You should write a book.
Makes you want to get out of here real fast.
How I survived 40 years of hell.
45 now. And going strong.
Okay. Well, we got the heaven to hell. We got the.
But you know, even on the subject the Mataji was talking, I think in a situation like that, Krishna will want us to be sympathetic, you know,
I hope so.
to the other person. I'm talking about the Mataji that was referring to somebody not being a devotee. If, you know, because I have so many people in my life that don't look at things. I was actually describing the event. Oh, we have to go, right? The event of the coffin, you know, walking around the food to somebody in my life, and she passed a very negative comment, you know. So everybody has, and the only way I could look at it was, you're not there yet, so you know, you're gonna look at it the way you look at it. So
Right.
and then not make a thing out of it, you know.
Right. Yeah, you just learn not to talk to those people about this.
Right.
Because otherwise then they commit more offenses.
Yep.
I remember when I would when I visit my parents, you know, years ago, and a new devotee, a pretty new devotee, maybe not so new, probably 5 years. But I tried a little bit at first when I first got into Krishna consciousness to explain some of this to them. They couldn't understand any of it. And then after that, when I would go visit them, I didn't talk anything about Krishna consciousness. And even if they asked some questions about it, I wouldn't even bother answering because I know they're just trying to find something. So I'd say, I don't want to, let me just watch TV.
Something we can all, you know what I'm saying, agree on.
They can only agree on watching TV. Yes.
And you know, you can't, it's all an experience to help us grow, knowing how to, because you're always gonna run into people that we're either fond of or have to, you know, interact with in a close way that may not, you know what I'm saying, be in alignment with the way we see things religiously and spiritually. So we have to learn, use these experiences to actually learn, because you always encounter some. You run from this one, you go meet another one.
Right. It's not only for yourself, but you're experiencing this and you're learning how to deal with it so that you can also tell others in the future when they have these same problems. So it's not just for you, it's for also helping others. I found that so many times I'd have some things like seemingly really bad happening, and then somebody else says that same thing, and I understand how I got through it and what I did and how, and then I can help them. So it's both. It's for you, so you can deal with it. You know how to deal with it, and then after you learn how to deal with it, it's somebody else who has that problem. You can explain it, and it's basically just somehow or other tolerating. You have to tolerate.
And also, as an individual, if you're in the company of somebody who is a non-devotee, it's also your responsibility to live your life to the best moral so that you can be a representation of Krishna for them. And one day, maybe when they sit back and want to do a comparison and hear that voice in them telling them to go somewhere, that will be the road they'll take because of the example they've seen you set as compared to other people, you know. But if you show them an attitude or a character that is appalling, then they will never be attracted to Krishna consciousness because they'll think,
Right.
if it didn't help you grow, why would it help me grow?
Right. Right. Yeah. So they teach by example.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you all for participating in this class. And let's just
Thank
go for
you.
our basics.
We thank you for hosting it.
Hare Krishna. Anyway, all for our obeisances to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
With that, Mohan Prabhu,
Yeah.